Masculine Mondays. I am Regal Essence. I am Queen TV. I'm Queen TV After Dark. I'm Life is a Love Goddess. I'm your hood therapist. I'm your crystal healer and dealer. I'm your past life princess, and I'm your red sunshine in the afternoon time. Hey, boos. So, Divine Masculine, I'm so excited to bring you this topic. So today we are talking about heavy is the head that wears the crown. And realizing that when you are the king of your crew, right? And what does that mean? Like, how do you carry that, right? Like, how do you mix in knowing that you have a higher purpose in life, knowing that you are chosen, and then mix it and mesh it into, like, your regular life, right? I was having a conversation with a very good friend of mine earlier this week, and I realized that we may actually struggle with trying to integrate our divinity into who it is that we are as a person, right? And I believe that God is not really calling us to live in a life of judgment, self-judgment, right? We're not here to be judged by other people, and we're not here to be told how to do what it is that we do well, right? However, when we realize that we are chosen and that God has handpicked us, or that there's something special about us, or there's something different about us, because everybody doesn't relate the same, right? And with this spirituality thing, some people are very spiritual to the point that they're like a little bit spooky and weird. And then some of us recognize that, like, you know, we have a good relationship with God, and we know that we live our lives according to being aligned with a higher power, right? But I just want to break it down to y'all just a little bit, right? So for those that resonate with being chosen, or being here for a higher purpose, or just having a calling on your life, or just being special to God, or however it is that you want to formulate it in your mind, right? Or however it is that you articulate it, right? I just want to give you guys just like a few little pointers on exactly, like, what the heck does what does all of that mean, right? Like, what? Like, so what does that mean? Like, how do I be, you know, a real person? Like, how do I be like a real dude, right? How do I stay 10 toes down and then at the same time incorporate divinity into my life? So I'm going to help you guys out a little bit, okay? So first of all, heavy is the head that wears the crown. What does that mean, right? That means when you are chosen, when you have a call on your life, when you know that you are special to God, when you know that you have a special assignment to fulfill in this earth, that means that you basically, you kind of got like an invisible crown on your head, right? So women talk a lot about being queen and, you know, straightening your crown and all of that kind of stuff. And men don't necessarily, you know, use that type of verbiage. But I know that there are certain men who know and resonate with the fact that they are different, they are chosen, and that God does have something special for them to do in their lives, right? So how do we take that a step further, right? Because I also realized too that the whole big positivity movement, like, that's a big thing, right? And a lot of people talk about, you know, being positive and keeping it positive and things like that. But if you really live your life and really aspire to be a positive human being on this earth, right? Or if we'll take it a step further from my starseeds and those that really, really resonate with being divine, or really, really resonate with being chosen, we know that we are here to help raise the earth's vibration, right? And that's very important. That's a very important job, right? That's a heavy crown to wear on your head. And what that looks like is standing out from the crowd, right? So I mentioned before, knowing whenever you the king of your crew, right? So knowing that as the king of the crew, a lot of times you will have to do things that go a bit against the grain, right? And always those of us that are called to be in a leadership role, like sometimes it can get a little bit lonely in that there's not a lot of people that are on our level. There's not a lot of people that are called to do the things that we are called to do. There's not a lot of people who have the assignment that we have, and we all have a different assignment, and God has given us all gifts, right? So what he expects from us is for us to utilize our gifts for the greater good. So, some ways that you can kind of mesh your divinity into the person that you already are is to basically realize that, like, everything that I do, regardless to what it is that I do, so whether I am a musician, whether I'm a film director, whether I am a comedian, whether I'm a clothing designer, whether I'm a cook, stylist, hairstylist, whatever the case may be, we have to realize and recognize that, okay, so whatever it is that I do has to be for the greater good. So one of the things that you want to do to be able to kind of like mesh your divinity into who it is that you are as a person is question your motives, right? Question your intention. Intention is energy. So we talk a lot about energy and, you know, keeping negative people away from us and not being around negative people and things of that nature. But if we really tap into energy, energy is also your intention. So ask yourself, what are the intentions behind what it is that you are doing? You want to ask yourself that. And then you want to ask yourself, is what I'm doing, is it helping the greater good of society, humanity, the community, my family, whatever it is that, wherever it is that you kind of like resonate, right? Some of us know that we're called to help the community. Some of us may feel like, you know, I'm just called to be like a really great example of a man or a father figure in my family. Some of us know that our reach is going to be global or it's going to be worldwide, right? So we want to ask ourselves, what is my intention behind the things that I am doing? What are my motives? Like, why is it that I'm doing what it is that I'm doing? And it's okay if we've gotten to this point in our lives, and we may be, some of us are further along than others, right? But it's okay that we are asking these questions, even if it's kind of late in life. We want to be asking ourselves the question of, why am I motivated? What's the motivation behind the things that I am doing? And what's the intention behind the things that I am doing? Am I doing something to raise the earth's vibration? If that's too deep, right? Am I doing things to further the overall good of my community, the overall good of my family, the overall good of humanity, right? So you want to ask yourself those questions whenever you are deciding what it is that you are putting out into the atmosphere, right? What is the energy? What is the energy behind what it is that I am doing? And when I do certain things, whenever I act a certain way, whenever I act in a certain behavior, when I share certain things, when I create certain things, what is my hope behind my creation? How do I want people to feel? How do I want people to react to what it is that I am putting out into the atmosphere? What it is that I'm putting out into the earth, right? Because a lot of times people, they really jump heavily on the positivity bandwagon, but it's like we don't allow that positivity to spread into all areas of our lives, right? So we want to say that we're positive, right? But then in the next minute, you know, we may be degrading someone or talking down to someone, or, you know what I mean? Just not always walking in that positivity. But if you resonate with living a positive lifestyle, that positivity should shine through in everything it is, everything that you do, right? Now, we're not perfect. We're not called to be perfect, right? And one of the most important things you can do in life is be authentic, right? So we want to also be authentic, and we also want to be real, right? But even in our authenticity and even in our realness, those of us that resonate with having an assignment or being chosen or being different, we have to understand that even in our realness and even in our just being us, we also have to be mindful of what things we put out what is that creating? You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, I come on here and I teach, and there's probably a lot of people that have opinions about why it is that I do what I do, and all of that kind of stuff. But my motivation, my intention, regardless to how it is that I show up, whether I'm ratchet some days and I'm super duper spiritual other days, my intention and my motivation is to motivate others to incorporate spirituality into their lives, right? It's also to help people understand whenever they start to go through certain changes in their lives and they decide, like, I think I want to do this a little bit different, or I feel as if I'm called to do something a little bit different. I know I'm different from my friends. I know I'm not like everybody else. All of those different things. It's like, it gets confusing sometimes. Like, okay, so like, what do I do with that information? Like, what does that mean for me? Like, what do I do with this calling? What do I do with this crown, right? And for that, I am here. She has arrived, right? So I'm basically here to help people understand what it is that is going on whenever they're going through a spiritual awakening, how important it is for you to embrace your spirituality, and how important it is to realize that I have a unique purpose here on this planet, in this earth, and push you guys forward, push you guys into embracing your assignment, right? Now, it's going to be hard and it's going to be difficult at times, right? But really, we should be doing, oh my goodness, we should be doing what we love. We should be doing the things that bring us enjoyment, bring us satisfaction, all of that cool stuff, right? But in doing that, whenever you are someone who stands out and who is different, you have to also understand that the way that I do what it is that I do has to be in a way that is uplifting, if that's really what I am here to do. If I'm really here to be positive and spread positivity, what exactly does that look like on all fronts, right? And it doesn't necessarily require us to be different from who it is that we are. We're not fake as we try to, as we start to kind of like change and kind of like morph into a higher vibrational being. We're not fake, right? But we are understanding that I got something to do, right? I have an assignment that I must fulfill, so I can't be like everybody else that is around me, right? And even though I may be around the same people, I may go to the same places, like my intentions and my motives for why it is that I do the things that I do, act the way that I act, create the things that I create, push the things that I push, it has to be backed by something that is higher than myself, right? Because we all want to be known for something. We all want to be popular on social media these days. We all want to have the most views and the most likes and all of that kind of stuff. But you want to ask yourself, if you are resonating with being someone that is chosen and different, you want to ask yourself, okay, but what am I doing this for? Why do I want people to see me? Why do I want people to know my name? Who do I want people to remember me for? By? Who do I want people to remember me by, right? No, what things do I want people to remember me by, right? And as we start to ask ourselves certain questions about, well, what's my motive? Like, what's my motive? What's my intention for the things that I do? That is what gives us purpose in life, right? Because we all have a different purpose. We all have something different that we're supposed to do. We all have different gifts. We're all here to display our gifts in a different way. But what really taps us into aligning with our higher selves, and what really taps us into aligning with having a greater purpose overall, is when we examine what our motives are and what our intentions are. And that's not something that everyone is doing these days. Like, everybody's just living the way that they want to live. Everybody's just doing whatever it is that they're big enough and bad enough and able to do. But those of us that know that heavy is the head that wears the crown, we know that that crown is heavy because I no longer can just do any and everything that I want to do without first taking the time to ask myself, why am I doing the things that I'm doing? What energy am I pushing? Am I pushing something positive? Am I making people feel good? Am I making people feel good about themselves? Am I making people feel motivated? Like, am I making people feel like, you know what, against all odds, you could do it, like you could be triumphant? Those are the things that those of us that are chosen, or those of us that resonate with the fact that we are a divine masculine or a divine feminine, those are the things that we are considering. It will require us to step away from certain people, step away from our friend group, step away from even people that at one point in time, like, we were really close to these people. Like, sometimes we have to understand that, like, even those that have always been close to us, there's going to be a time that there is going to be a level of separation, because sometimes people don't always give us the best advice, right? And then sometimes people cannot give us advice because what it is that we have to do is so important that not a lot of people can relate to why we have to do things that we do a certain way. We're not changing ourselves. We're not being anything different than who it is that we really are. We're still being authentic, but we're being mindful and we're being conscious of the things that we do and how it is that we do it, and what energy are we pushing. Am I making people feel better? Am I making people feel motivated? Am I making people feel happy? What exactly is my intention? What's my motivation, right? And am I ready to step away from the crowd? Like, if I'm the king of the crew, do I understand that sometimes that means that, like, I'm going to have to be alone sometimes? Like, sometimes I'm not going to have anybody to be able to give me advice because, like, I'm on a higher level than other people. You know what I'm saying? And not in a cocky, egotistical way, but it's just reality, okay? It's just reality sometimes, right? So those are the things that we want to remember. And we want to remember that, like, everybody, we can't allow everyone to speak into our lives because everybody doesn't have the call that we have on our lives. Especially when it comes to love and relationships and picking your person and stuff like that. Like, I realize that people will support you in a lot of things, but they may not always support you whenever they know that you're really about to, like, really like take off, right? And sometimes the people that we choose romantically, they are our next level. Like, they have that level up, right? And a lot of times people will start to get not so good advice when it comes to picking and choosing who it is that they're supposed to be with. So I just want to encourage you guys that sometimes you're going to have to step away from the crowd. Sometimes you're going to have to do things on your own. Sometimes you may only have like 1 or 2 people that can actually speak into your life and be able to give you direction and advice, right? And I want to encourage you guys to be courageous enough to understand that sometimes I'm going to have to step away from the crew, you know, because the things that I have to do are of a higher vibration. And my positivity has to be a positivity that spreads across into and touches all areas of my life. You know what I'm saying? So heavy is the head that wears the crown. But I just want to encourage you guys. And I just kind of wanted to kind of like break it down into like a simpler way of being able to understand how exactly we mesh together this divinity or this new life that we're stepping into. How do I mesh that into like my old life? How do I mesh that into my everyday life, right? How do I mesh that into the person and the personality and the persona that I have built up to this point, right? So we don't want to change who it is that we are. We want to continue to be real and authentic, because when we're real and authentic, we give other people the courage to be real and authentic as well. However, the easiest way to be able to mesh those things together is to realize that we have a higher purpose on this planet and start to question and look at the energies behind why it is that we do what we do, what are our intentions, what are our motives, and if we start to create a dialogue in our head about what it is that we want to see happen, how it is that we want people to feel whenever they are interacting with us or they have interacted with us, that will help us with aligning with our higher selves, and it will also help us with aligning in a greater way with what our overall purpose is on the planet. So yeah, you guys, that's what I got for you, Divine Masculine, on this Divine Masculine Mondays. Do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, share it with your friends, and remember, I love you. Peace.